What's up, everybody? I'm Jonathan. Welcome to Worship Matters. And today we're going to be checking out an interesting song by Theocracy called Bethlehem. I almost started this without this hat, but we're listening to Christmas songs, so we got to wear the Christmas hat. Anyways, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. If you enjoy this video, give us a like. And if you have any songs you want me to review, Christmas or not, let me know in the comments. I'd love to check it out. But just know that Christmas is almost done. We've only got a couple more weeks of Christmas music, so if you don't hurry, I may have already recorded all the Christmas for the year. So just be aware of that. But you can go ahead and start requesting things for January if you like. Anyways, let's check out our worship guidelines. Directional, musically repeatable, theologically sound, the Bob test, artistic license, and congregational versus personal. If you don't know what any of those mean, I did a whole video about it. Link will be in the description. You can go check that out. Now, just so you know, I'm pretty sure, I could change my mind. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be a congregational song. It is a good song, but I don't think it's going to be a congregational song. But let's keep going. All right, here is our verse for the day. Luke chapter 2, verse 21. And when 8 days had passed before his circumcision, his name was then called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days for the purification according to the law of Moses were completed, they brought him up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every firstborn male that opens to the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. And to offer a sacrifice according to what was said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. And there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, and this man was a righteous and devout, looking for the consolation of Israel. And the Holy Spirit was upon him. And it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ. He came in the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to carry out for him the custom of the law, then he took him into his arms and blessed God, saying, Now, Lord, you are releasing your bondservant to depart in peace, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light of revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel. And his mother and father were amazed at these things which were being said about him. And Simeon blessed them, and said to Mary his mother, Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and for a sign to be opposed. And a sword will pierce even your own soul, to the end that thoughts from many hearts may be revealed. And there was a prophetess, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was advanced in years, and had lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage, and then as a widow to the age of 84. She never left the temple, serving night and day with fastings and prayers. And at that very moment she came up and began giving thanks to God, and continued to speak to him to all who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. That's a bit of a long paragraph there, but we see these 2 godly people that God had revealed who Jesus was to in the temple. So when he was brought even as a baby, they immediately knew who he was and what he was destined to do. So he was the Messiah. So I read this long passage because this is the event that this song is about. So let's check it out without further ado. Bethlehem. So this is actually in Jerusalem, so I don't know why they call this Bethlehem, but they're kind of identifying the Bethlehem birth story with what's coming later on. Well, you'll see. This might be a long video because I'm probably just going to listen to the whole song, which I don't usually do, but we're going to make an exception for this one.
And even though the flame of my life is now growing dim, I know I'll see the Savior of Israel. For the Spirit of the Lord has promised unto me that I would not see death before my eyes have seen him. The promise is alive, for through this little child, God's holy light illuminates Jerusalem.
Alright, that is verse 1. Maybe you could argue it's verse 2. There is like an interlude there. Alright, let's see. We're going to slow it down. They go pretty fast. All my life I've waited and watched through the eyes of faith. So this is Simeon. They're speaking through Simeon to see the consolation of Israel. So let me pull that up again. Consolation, it's a big word that not everybody knows. It's the act or instance of consoling, to comfort. So to see the comforting of Israel. Okay? And even though the flame of my life is now growing dim, I know I'll see the Savior of Israel. And the reason for this is because Simeon trusted God, and God had told him that before he died, he would see the Messiah. What a prophecy. Okay. For the Spirit of the Lord has promised unto me. So here we go. They're explaining it. I've already explained it, but that's okay. So for the Spirit of the Lord has promised unto me that I would not see death before my eyes have seen him. So Simeon trusted God and the promise that God had made. The promise is alive, for through this little child, God's holy light illuminates Jerusalem. I think that's where we stopped. All right, so Jesus, they're talking about how Jesus is the light of Jerusalem. All right, we'll go on back to listening. There's a lot of music, so I'll cut it down just a little bit. But basically, this song is just telling the story of Simeon. So, or at least that part is. So I haven't really said much because it's really just retelling the story. Just so you know why I'm not talking as much. For the way has been prepared in the sight of every man. The Son of God himself was born in Bethlehem. A sacrifice is made in the temple on this day. Redemption reaches far beyond Jerusalem. Okay, before we get to the exciting part, let's jump back and talk about that. You might notice how close the words were to what was said by Simeon. And in case you didn't, this child will cause the falling and the rising of many souls. What did Simeon tell to Mary? This exact thing. All right. He will be a sign for all the people of Israel. Again, this is what Simeon said. Maybe not in these words, but this child will be the way and the life unto every soul. That's not what Simeon said, but you know, it's not untrue. To every generation shall the Gentiles tell. So they're bringing in the Gentiles just like Simeon did. Let's go back and real quick look. Here we go. A light of revelation to the Gentiles and the glory of your people. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all people. So he does talk about salvation here. but it's not in the same way. But that's fair. We've seen this song is written after the revelation of Christ's sacrifice for the world. So we're bringing in the rest of the New Testament into this, or they are bringing the rest of the New Testament into this story and reading this through gospel lenses, which they had not been fully revealed to Simeon yet. So, and then here we have the child is appointed for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and for a sign to be opposed. So, let's keep going. All right. Back to the Gentiles. All right. To every generation shall the Gentiles tell, for the way has been prepared in the sight of every man. Okay. The Son of God himself was born, or is born, in Bethlehem. So, this is basically saying that Jesus, by being born, really the Son of God, the God himself, the second person of the Trinity himself, being born in Bethlehem, is the revelation of God himself, so that all men, every man may see. So God has revealed himself to the world, not just to Israel, but to all peoples, so that we could all become a part of the family of God. All right, and then we get into the chorus. All right, so we'll start a little bit, but I like that build-up that happens here. So you'll notice in verse 1 and 2, it's been mostly just like a guitar picking. I think it's acoustic guitar, too. Probably an electric acoustic picking. It could be a harpsichord. I don't know. It sounds more like a guitar to me, but I could be wrong about that. All right. But they're about to strum up because they're a rock band. They're a metal band, so they're going to play. It's going to sound a little bit like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So here we go. Ready? Let's do that. Oh. Okay, sorry, I forgot about this part. My bad. All right, sacrifice was made in this temple on this day. Redemption reaches far beyond Jerusalem. Okay, it didn't really add too much there, but yeah, so it mentions the sacrifice. So they had a sacrifice for the birth of Christ, but I think this is also echoing the sacrifice that Christ would make so that redemption reaches far beyond Jerusalem. All right, here we go. Sorry, now we got it. I know, I'm just letting the music play out here. Okay, that's a lot of music. We'll come back to it. Okay, so there's the chorus. Okay, O Bethlehem, your star burns bright tonight. So there's a lot of discussion about the star that appeared over Bethlehem, and I think I discussed this in a different video, so you can go check that out. I don't remember which one, I think this star that they're referring to is actually Jesus. I think that Jesus is the star. So in Numbers, I think. Balaam, when he prophesies that a star would rise from Israel, might have said Jacob, and a star will rise from Israel. That star has two fulfillments. It has a fulfillment in that a star rises and shows the wise men to the Messiah, but that actually happens like 2 years later, so it takes a long time for them to get there. Or that's what people think, at least. We don't really know how long it took them to get there, but people estimate like 2 years. But really the star is actually talking about Jesus. Jesus is the star that rises out of Israel. And so, Bethlehem, your star burns bright tonight. Well, your star, that's Jesus. All right. For my eyes have seen the glory of salvation's holy light. So this is still from the perspective of Simeon, but with some additions. Salvation's holy light. But I think Simeon did talk about seeing the glory of salvation. So, but it's tying that to Jesus being the star. Of course, this isn't. Simeon's in Jerusalem when he sees that, but yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Has this little child come to redeem us all? Of course, the answer is yes. To save us from the fall. Redemption is in sight. Behold, the sun shines bright. So here's my proof that Jesus is the sun, or is the star that is shining bright in Bethlehem. So it's not just a star that they're talking about, but actually Jesus, the sun that shines bright. And notice why they capitalize this, so they're actually deifying Christ. As they should, because Jesus is the second person of God. So, behold, you're looking at the salvation and the glory of God by seeing Christ. And he shines bright. The light of the world had entered the world under Bethlehem's star tonight. So here we have like a... I think this is a recognition of the two different stars. So maybe this is actually, maybe they are talking about the star that shines bright over. So maybe I'm wrong. I think that they're playing around with the fact that there were two stars, that Jesus was the star that rises from Israel. Maybe I'm wrong. So I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about that. I'm going to interpret this. I'm going to interpret this as Jesus. This star that... okay, whatever. That this star is actually referring to the star that was in the sky, bringing the wise men to Jesus, or it could be the angels that appeared to the shepherds. Anyways, but I think that the first part, the sun shines bright, is talking about Jesus being the star. All right. Under Bethlehem star tonight, and that's the end of the chorus, and this is where we left off. I think there's a third verse. Maybe not.
Oh, Bethlehem, your star burns bright tonight. For my eyes have seen the glory.
All right, so in a minute they're gonna have. Well, I'm not gonna mute it. So they're gonna have this descant part that comes when they repeat this chorus. So just know that in a second we're about to have a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I think it starts back here. Alright, we've heard this a few times, so I'm going to skip. Alright, in Bethlehem tonight, we don't need to hear it like 5 times. Alright, here we go. When all the world was asleep, you know what, we'll just let it play. Alright, so that is that part. I don't know how much you caught it, but I moved myself up so you can see it down here. So let's go through that. This is the last part that's new. So, when all the world was sleeping in darkness, okay, a child in Bethlehem fulfilled the promise. Okay, so the world was dark, and then the light of the world came into the world. Okay, the ancients prophesied a great deliverer. All right, the one to break the curse of sin forever. All right, so this deliverer that the ancients promised, he's delivering us from the curse of sin forever. So that is what he is delivering. He didn't come with any worldly fanfare. No royal treatment, just a dark cross to bear. And so you can see some of the theology that's after the words of Simeon that's being put into the message of Simeon. Dark cross to bear. In Bethlehem, a new dawn is rising. A star to guide the way forever shining. See, here we go. This star to guide the way. This is Jesus. This isn't the star in Bethlehem. This is Jesus who is the star that's guiding the way forever shining. Wow, so I love how they're playing off of the fact that there were two different stars there. A new hope was born for all creation that night. For though the darkness came, or I bet this is supposed to be for through the darkness came the brightest light. I don't think it's for though the darkness. For through the darkness came the brightest light. So the light came and overcame the darkness. All right, I think that is, yeah. And then it just repeats and it does it again. So that is that song. I said I'd listen to the whole thing. We listened to most of it. We don't need to listen to everything. All right, let's look at our worship guidelines. Okay, directional. So it's talking about God indirectly. So it's giving worship to God indirectly, and it's talking to Bethlehem, really, to the people of God, to Israel, and that's it's Simeon, when he said those things, he was declaring the glory of God. And he spoke to Mary, declaring, prophesying what would come. And so it's in a similar way, I speak in a similar way. Theocracy is declaring the glory of God and preaching to the people of God the salvific nature of Christ. So it's not direction. It's not directing praise to God directly. It is indirectly praising God, which is fine. And the audience it's speaking to people, even though I do think it actually does direct worship to God indirectly. All right, musically repeatable. This is this is a little more difficult song. It's not super difficult, but you're not going to be able to. Your regular congregation ain't going to be able to sing this. If you have a really good choir and a really good guitar player, you could probably pull this off. Let the piano and or organ do some of the more difficult melodies, because pianists and organists are amazing. And then let the guitar do a lot of the regular strumming. And then a choir could probably pull this off pretty well. But for your regular congregational singing, it's not gonna really be good. It's not really gonna work. So musically repeatable, it's a bit too difficult for congregational worship. Theologically sound, I think it's fine. I think it does really good. There's a lot of stuff I like in this. It's really beefing up what Simeon says and putting more Christological interpretation into it, which is good. They don't say anything untrue, so I think it's great. The Bob test, I think it's fun. There's really only one person of note other than David who was born in Bethlehem, and this isn't talking about David. Artistic license. Yeah, the only question I really had was about the star. But I think that they're really playing with the double meaning of the star there, maybe triple meaning, if you will. All right, congregational versus personal. So I would not do this congregationally. I'm not saying that there aren't ways to do this well in a church worship service, but as for the congregational singing, which is just as, if not more important than like choir singing, I don't think it would work well. It's too difficult for your average congregation to be able to sing. Now, if you're doing like a special Christmas program, if you're doing like a choir special, if you have a soloist who is just really amazing, maybe they could do that. You'd really need a duet for the end to do it well. And you need several strong musicians to play it. So I think that you could probably do this for a special music or something in worship. But as far as congregational worship is concerned, like having all of the people of God singing together, I don't think that it's going to be a good song for that. So for me, I put this in personal worship and, potentially for any kind of special music that you might do within the greater work of the church. So there's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Have you heard this song before? Is it now your new favorite Christmas song? Let me know in the comments. I want to know what you think. I really love it. It kind of has like that. If you take Trans-Siberian Orchestra musically and then put it with Christian biblical theology, you mix those two things together and you get this beautiful song. That's what I think about it. I think it's really great. And so thanks for watching. If you enjoy this, let me know. Give me a like. Let me know in the comments. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? Join the family already. I just review Christian music and worship music and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. That's all I'm really doing, with the purpose of helping us glorify and worship our Creator better. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We've got a few more weeks of Christmas music before we go back to our normal three days a week schedule of putting out music, regular Christian music rather than Christmas. But if you get me a Christmas song before that, let me know. Technically, I'm not opposed to doing Christmas music the rest of the year, but I just feel like there's so fewer Christmas songs than regular songs. I'm just worried I'll run out too quickly, so I don't want to do too many outside of the Christmas sphere. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.